Good afternoon, Bob from Trade Genius. The 16th of February, and what an absolutely crazy day. We found out yesterday about the hedge fund that was blowing up all week that drove the market up 6 days in a row, and then we had a nice, pretty healthy sell-off that they decided to ramp the thing almost all the way back to even, which happens a lot. It's just it's going to start getting really crazy because volatility's picked up now too, and I think it's gonna be really really hard um, to hold people in positions. It's going to get really zany, and so I'm just going to zap through some charts here, and see if I can make some sense of some things. So we had a ramp on VXX, put this little inverted hammer in, and it gave actually an opportunity for us to do some day trading on some UVXY puts and some XIV, which we closed those trades we put on today just because just can't really trust the market anymore, and and so I think we're going to start stair stepping up on VXX, but tomorrow could be calm again, going into the weekend, and then next week, we have a short week, so Monday a lot of things could happen and cause Tuesday to be, pretty crazy. And then look at SPY. SPY today had its pretty big volume move, and there you go. Almost dropped the microphone there for a second. And so they sold it down below the pivot, and then they just been ramping it up, but they didn't get it to they couldn't get it back to even, and so I just think that you're going to start seeing some distribution here, but we'll see tomorrow. Tomorrow is OPEX close, and we'll see if they try to trend this day up higher or not. Financials look just like SPY. You can see what's driving the market. Hey, the damn banks, they want our money, higher interest rates. They're not going to give us more money through higher interest rates in our accounts, and the bank's going to give them free money on top. I mean, the central bank's going to give them free money on top of it by not charging them more for their. They're going to pay them more for their interest that they have, their cash on reserve that they have, which was given them by the central bank for free. And so that's what's pushing the banks up. I think once they find out if we're not going to get any more rate rises, or that's in jeopardy, or if the housing markets start to really struggle, then you're going to see the banks really struggle too. Emerging markets, like I said, I'm really kind of confused. You think the lower dollar would drive the emerging market higher, but they went up higher with the dollar. So I just really don't know how to make heads or tails of this. Looks like it's just momoing with everything else right now. Nugget, hey, they can't keep the miners down, so or silver. So I just think that's the play. When something should be going down and it's not, then you need to take a good hard look at it. We're in a number of these positions, and we give ourselves enough room on the stop side to be able to get a good run going on it. CHK, it looks like it's going to try to test that low. Oils, natural gas are just crazy. GDX we talked about, looks like it's bull flag, and looks like it's there to move higher again tomorrow. UVXY talked about it, looks like a little bit of a bull flag to me. We'll see what happens tomorrow. XIV, same, looks like a little bear flag. And fair value on this thing now, where the liquidity is between 60 and 61. I think it gets there pretty quickly, to be honest with you. IDWM, same. It's drifting away. Looks like it might be forming a little bit of a head and shoulder pattern here. Shoulder, head. See if this shoulder fails. Got an angle on it, and see if this thing will start dropping back towards VWAP. Twitter trades neutral for us right now. UNG, we're right by where our stop is. I mean, it is washed out. It is 10% below its VWAP. I added some VWAP extension envelope channels to capture more of these moves. I mean, this is really washed out. So that's why I'm holding it. And you know my my thinking is that we're going to go back into a cold spell here again in the next 2 weeks in the Midwest. Seems to be the trigger for these guys. So, but we're pretty washed out. If you're in it, you're washed out. I mean, it broke below S2 today. It's 10% below its VWAP. So hang in there if you own it. NAK, my advice on NAK is that it's caught in a war with the short seller. So I believe the company has value. They certify mining results with the Canadian government. They're pretty stringent on that. And so when they talk about mine being uneconomical, hey, if gold doubles in price, that mine's very economical. So, I think it's them playing some games here. So my suggestion is, I have a long-term holding position on this, but we have a trading position at $3 again, and before the sell-off, and then some of my subscribers are every time it's going down there to touch that moving average you see there, which represents the 100-day. Is they're buying and then they're selling it off, move their basis down. I'll buy more at $2 and then bring my basis down to $2.35, and then I'll do it again and again if I have to, and then but if it gets to $3.50, that's our sell limit on it. IAU, we're in it, profitable, looks good. GXJ looks good. SWN, we got stopped out of it. It's being washed out with the natural gas stocks. Looks stair-stepping down, and I'll take another shot at this again when I get a buy signal. XLE, we got stopped out of our energy sector trade. It looked like a perfect inverted head and shoulders, but it failed, and so it doesn't pretend well for the oil markets. And I still think oil is going to crash down here, but that signal looked pretty good, and it just failed. Real estate, it got a bit of a bid today with the market selling off. We got stopped out of our SRS trade, very small loss. It wasn't enough of a gain on it when we had it to take the profit, but we'll take another shot at this. At some point here, the real estate's going to really struggle. XLK, technology is still holding up, but it didn't make it back to the highs. Just keep an eye on it. That's one of the other things that's holding the market up pretty well. Dust, I said it again and again, you get overbought on this thing, buy some puts, gets oversold, sell it, and rinse and repeat. GLD, we talked about gold. SLW, we're in SLW. And we have a high enough stop on it, low enough stop, I should say, that it's hitting on VWAP, and I'm looking for this thing. It'll move with silver. I think it just got caught up with the moves today in the market. XBI, we bought BIS, and we think this is going to make a lower high and finally start rolling over. I mean, it is almost 7% over its moving VWAP. It's one of the momos they used. Silver looks good. AG looks just fine. We bought MOS today. It hit our stop, and we did something new here that we're going to do more and more of. We're going to try to set some buy limits on targeted areas that we want to enter into the trade. And so it hit today at 33.04, and so we'll set a stop and a profit limit on it tonight. Finally, discretionary started to sell off, and why it went up in the first place is beyond me. So I probably should not be lazy and take a look what's inside of XLY, see what they're dragging up, but nobody has any money. ERX, that's the one we got stopped out of. Oil, just flat as a pancake. Dollar, breaking down below VWAP, still above moving average, but my view is that I think that Momo running the dollars over too. So still recommending people take a position in SH because when this market blows, it's going to go. It's going to retrace that whole move. That whole thing's been pretty artificial. Uh, drip drip is going fine. Some people ask me where we should sell out at. It's if it gets between these two lines right here, I would trim if you're in it for the long term, and then wait for it to set back down to VWAP and then rinse and repeat. We're in TWM. It's just grinding here, with the market. Sierra K is failing. Probably going to go all the way down to $10 here, I think, before there's an opportunity to buy it again. DBA, it looks like it was breaking out, and it kind of went back in and went below VWAP, so I didn't take a shot at it because all the components were overbought on it, so I'm just kind of waiting and watching it. Same with wheat. Wheat looked like it was breaking out, and then it's just been it's just too stretched above its VWAP. And see, this is doing what it's supposed to do. The other stuff, because this is not loved by the central bankers, so it hits the top of its channel, and it's going to come back down to here, and I'd be buying anywhere in between these two numbers. We finally got a break up here in the yen, so I think the yen's going to continue its move higher again. SALJ, we're in that. We're comfortable where we are. Coffee drifting back up. We're unbelievable. We're profitable on it for today. This has been like a nemesis for me. Just can't get it to hold the trade long enough to take a profit on it. But we'll see if we can get to our profit line this time. Same with corn. I think it's going down to the VWAP in between these two numbers here, and be a chance to buy again. Like I said, we're in BIS. We're slightly profitable. We entered it today. ICL, long-term hold. This is one if you want to own an ag chem, pretty cheap. When I mean cheap, I mean low in price. And you can put it and tuck it away. A huge short interest on this thing. They mine chemicals out in Israel. And so very strategic location for moving those chemicals around Europe, Asia, or Africa. And it's one that you could just stick in there and forget about for a decade. SRS, we talked about real estate. Sugar, we're no trade in it right now. I don't like where it sits in relation to its buy. JJG, now when it comes down here, now if it gets between these two numbers, I'll buy it again, because it looks like we're starting to get some action on the grains. This is the thing they use to Momo the market, and they Momo'd it. So this thing really have to break and turn down for us to really get some sustained selling in the market. VVIX, it's looks like an LSD chart here, but all this is really telling me is that earlier in the day you had accelerating fear, and then as the day went on, the fear abated, and that's why you see it here. So all really the VVIX is just how fearful the fear index is for that period of time. And usually when you get these spikes like this, it makes trading UVXY puts pretty no-brainer-ish. We had this spike up to here, and it started coming down. I knew we could make a profitable trade today, and we did. Same with the VIX. But I'm saying this is going to start working itself higher. It hit the moving average to 100 here, and sold back down underneath it, but I think it's going to start trying to work its magic higher. We'll see. BXX, I think that's where we started. So I'll get you guys later. I'm doing a video, webinar tonight. If you guys know about it, come on board, and if not, we do them the first and third Thursdays of the month. First of the week is basic, third of the week is advanced. If you're a subscriber that you're an annual member, you can always attend for free. And then if you're not, and you want to learn how to trade and how I trade and our secrets, it's pretty reasonable to join the webinar. We go for an hour or so and answer any questions you have, and we go through a presentation and go through charts and software and stuff like that. Okay, you guys have a good one. Thanks. Bye-bye.